Hey guys, welcome to my Electron from Scratch course. So this is a project-based, hands-on course about Electron, and even if you have no experience with Electron whatsoever, you should be fine. And if you do have experience with it, then we'll go ahead and build some cool projects and hopefully pick some stuff up along the way. So this course is about building cross-platform desktop applications with JavaScript using the Electron framework. And it doesn't matter if you're on a Mac or Windows or Linux. In fact, I created all these projects on Windows and then recreated them during recording on a Mac so that I could make sure that they work on both platforms, and they've also been tested on Linux. Now, what you should know before taking this course, you should at least know HTML, CSS. Those should probably be the first things you learn in web development. You should know JavaScript fundamentals, modern JavaScript like promises, arrow functions, classes, etc. DOM manipulation. You should probably know the basics of Node.js and NPM, how Node packages work. In fact, Electron is installed with the Node package manager. React is a plus because we will be using it in the last project of this course. So if you do know React, that will help you out a little bit, but if you don't, that's fine. I'll explain things as we move along. Now, one thing I try to stress in almost all of my courses is that my teaching is very hands-on and project-based. I don't do a lot of theory and diagrams. The first few sections will have some explanation of what Electron is and a few diagrams, but ultimately I like to explain things as I code, have you code along with me, and do it that way. So if you like that style of teaching, then you'll probably like my courses. There'll be 3 projects in total, and the projects are going to be desktop applications that we create from start to finish, including how to package them up for all platforms. So let's take a look at the 3 projects. The first one will be an app called Image Shrink, and this will be used to optimize images. I find this very useful because a lot of the times when you're building a website or a web app, images can really slow down the load time. So here you can load an image and you can choose the quality and you can optimize and shrink it, or shrink the file size. The optimized image will then be put in a specific folder in your home directory, and then that directory will open and display on your machine after it's optimized. And for this application, we'll be using Electron features like browser window, menu, IPC, shell, and you'll come to find out what these things are as we move along through the course. So the second project is called SysTop, which is a system and CPU monitor, and it will constantly watch your CPU usage with a real-time progress bar. We'll also be creating a local data store for saving settings such as the CPU overload notification threshold, so you'll be able to get desktop alerts if your CPU hits a certain number, 80%, 90%, whatever you set it to. We'll also be implementing a system tray icon using the Electron tray feature. So the last application that we'll build is called Bug Logger, where we can track logs or track bugs, and this will actually use React with the user interface, and then we'll also implement a MongoDB cloud database, MongoDB Atlas, where we can fetch logs, we can create them, we can delete them, and we'll use something called IPC to communicate from the main process the data that we fetch from the database to the renderer, which is where React will be running, and we'll be able to interface with our data. And the reason I used a cloud database is so that you could distribute this application to your team members and you could all have access to the same database, the same logs. They can add logs, remove them, and read them, and so on. Okay, so that's what this course consists of. Again, if you don't have experience with Electron, that's absolutely fine. You should, however, be pretty well versed in JavaScript. You don't have to be an absolute pro, but you should know most of the modern concepts. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with the course.